on, everybody? It is 9:48 a.m. and today is Tuesday. It's a really slow one. I got this offer from UberEats to go to Walgreens. I'm going to get $9 for 4.5 miles, and I have to shop for just 4 items. This particular Walgreens, the internet is not good at all. Just about anywhere you go inside of this particular Walgreens, you can't get a phone signal. So I usually have to collect all the items in a shopping cart, park the shopping cart close to the exit or the entrance of the store, and I scan an item, then I hustle myself outside with just my phone, and then I get a connection and it goes through. Then I go back into the store and repeat the process until I finally am able to add all the items to the cart and check out. So it's a real lame process, and this offer that came in was originally a Trip Radar order, and I hesitated taking it for almost a full 30 seconds, and it never vanished. And it actually finally directly was presented to me exclusively just to me. And that sort of gives me a hint that there was probably another delivery driver who tried to do the shopping and failed because their phone wasn't working in the store, or everybody that's seen the offer already knows how much they hate that particular Walgreens because of the internet connection problem. So yeah, so that's why I think I got it. But at least I have a solution for it. At least I hope that solution is gonna work today. Who knows? We'll see what happens when I get there. But I wanted to continue my story about how I became financially independent. And where I last left off, I was in the hospital, and I had all these medical bills that the hospital sent, and I was able to negotiate it where I didn't have to pay anything. And it was a stressful process. Whoa, am I gonna be able to turn? Yeah. It was a stressful process, but I made it through. I'll tell you more about it too after I start the shopping. All right, I'm pulling into the Walgreens parking lot, and yeah, so we'll start the shopping. Let me just park the car and we'll head on in. Let's go get it. Okay, I lucked out. Everything went through. I got these ice creams, this icy hot patch. I got this roll-on, and this was locked up, and somebody helped me. Let's check out. Take the photo. Submit the photo. Everything was fine until I went to check out. Then the app decided to not work again. Just like it's doing right now, it doesn't want to upload the receipt. Oh, there it goes. The internet is really lousy here. Let's see. Is it going to tell me where I'm going next? Okay, we're going to be going to a house. It's going to be a leave at the door. 6 minutes, 2.3 miles. I got everything in the cart, and as I was scanning in the pain reliever aisle, the items were scanning, it was spinning for a long time, but it finally went through for every item. And then when I got to the front of the store to check out, I couldn't get to the point where it would allow me to officially check out and pay for the order. So I had to step outside. $13.50, 9 miles. No. Yeah, so I headed outside, and I got a signal, and this guy exited the store while I was standing outside of the door, And he's like, he's trying to figure out what I was doing. Why am I just standing outside of the store by the door, holding my phone up in the air? He probably was trying to figure out what was going on. And I didn't see him behind me, and he kind of had to squeeze by me. I should have actually stepped further away, but I didn't think anybody was going to come outside of the store that quickly. So, okay, back to the story. So I was able to negotiate that bill only because the insurance did not list it as a pre-existing condition. And that was the first time I had ever been in the hospital before. I'd never been in the hospital before, so it was a very weird experience. And I guess the only thing I was responsible for was the $10,000 deductible. And that, of course, was a huge amount of money for me, especially since I had just moved to Vegas and had already spent everything to make the mortgage as low as possible. So I was able to negotiate where they waived it. And I think they were especially lenient at that time because we were now deep into the recession. And so they knew everybody all over the city was having a terrible time. It was having a terrible time financially. So, I mean, that's just my guess as to why they waived it. I was just glad they did, and I moved on. I'm like, okay, it worked. That's done. But little did I know it was there was even worse stuff that was about to happen after that. After I got out of the hospital, I went to the pharmacy to get my medication. It turned out that the medication I needed to get was not generic. It was some new medication. And you know, those new medications aren't cheap. So it turned out that for a 1 month supply of this medication was almost $500 for a 1 month supply. Now, there was no way I was going to say no to it because I didn't want to end up back in the hospital again. So I had to pay it, and I believed I kept paying it for the next 2 years. I was making that payment, and it was not fun, to say the least. And then on top of all that, I had to have all of these tests that I had to do afterward. I had to meet with all these specialists, and that was only partially covered. It's like I would pay like a $70 copay for a visit, and then later on I would get a bill, and the bill would be like some would be $1,700, some would be just a few hundred. It was so random. I never knew what kind of bill I was going to be receiving. And that went on for a year, seeing specialists, just to confirm everything was okay. And then I finally got the green light that I could go back to normal. And what is this guy doing? All right, we're almost at the drop-off, and this person has decided to stop in the middle of the road for some reason. Maybe he has to turn into that driveway. Maybe that was it. All right, we're in the neighborhood, and we focus on the drop-off up next. Let's see. I think it's this house here, yeah. It's drop-off time. Come on, Walgreens. Come on, Walgreens. that wasn't too shabby. I got that done pretty fast. And yeah, after the first year and I was cleared, I still had to pay for that name brand drug. And I was still stuck with terrible insurance. I don't exactly remember when I was able to finally get on the Obamacare. I know I was one of the first people, as like it was like as soon as I heard the law had passed and the website was available to go on to sign up for the Obamacare, that's when I signed up. And I remember going to the doctor for the first time and I showed them the health insurance card. They were like, when they saw it, you could tell like it was a whole new process for them, and they were all nervous. They were like, "Oh, here we go! It's one of the first ones we've seen." So it was kind of like, I guess maybe the paperwork to process it or something is different. I don't know. There must be something different that's involved in doing it, you know, administrative wise, because the receptionist that took my card, her eyes got real big when she saw it. So that's all I can remember with that. But once I got that, the cost for everything went down. So now I didn't have to pay 100% for that name brand, and then I think the following year it became a generic, and then I was only paying generic prices for it. So like even right now, I'm on that medication, and I think it's only like for a 100-day supply, I think I spend like $5. So it's crazy how when something's on patent, how insanely expensive it is for a name brand drug, but the moment it's generic, it's practically free. So it's just really crazy. And yeah, so I was in a default, but I still had my library of images where I was making money. So I wasn't sinking or anything. I wasn't like stressed. I mean, I was sinking when I had that first year when I was seeing all those specialists, but once that passed, then I was okay. You know, I was coming back. And that's when I started to realize, you know, this whole image thing has the ability to just be passive income, because I had created such a huge library of artwork that even if I wasn't making the artwork, I was still getting income flow. You know, it's not like that with YouTube. As far as my YouTube experience, it seems like the moment you stop making videos for YouTube, your income plummets. And with the other thing that I was doing with images, if I stopped doing it, it would still keep coming in steady. And sometimes it would still go up and down, but it had nothing to do, or not as much to do, with how much more I was contributing, because the size of the library was so big now that it didn't make as huge of a difference. So I did like that. I did feel much more secure once I realized that was going on, and there wasn't a lot of stress. And so that went on for a long time where I was doing that. And it was only when I started to do gig work, which would be when I started doing Uber, is when I got involved with this type of work where I'm just doing the delivery stuff, because there was a certain point in my life where I was like, I don't know why I'm stressing so much about stuff financially with this image library that I had. Plus, all the investments that I did during the recession with the stock market, all of those things started to explode in value. So like when I bought Netflix, that multiplied. I had Apple, that multiplied. You know, I had a lot of the tech stocks. I think the only stocks that I can recall that I invested in that totally were a disaster was the oil industry. I decided to try investing in fracking technology. That was a big mistake because oil at that time when I invested was like $90 a barrel or something like that. It was a really high value for the price of oil. And oil prices were like insanely high everywhere. Gas prices were super high. And this was probably around the year 2016, I think, something like that. And it was a big mistake, obviously, because it crashed, and the oil went down really super cheap, and a lot of businesses went bust. It was a total disaster. That was my only real mistake, was ever thinking that that had potential. But everything else worked out. So now I have my stock investments, and I have my image library, and that's kind of like where I'm at now. So that's kind of the story of how I was able to become financially independent, and so it was just sort of this weird, long, random road that I went down, that it all sort of worked out the way it did today. And so when people ask me, you know, how was I able to retire so early, I don't necessarily have a good answer to them, except just to say, oh, you know, I get royalties and I get money from my investments. But it's very difficult to explain to people, like, because, you know, people are asking because they want to do it too, and you can't do it because you have to go back in time. You would have to go back in time. Like, if you try to replicate what I did now, everything's different. The circumstances are different. Like, the whole idea of trying to even put images into an image library right now, it's so there's so much content now that you would never be able to build a library enough where you would continue building it, because you would, like, because I did it at the beginning, I was making money all along the way, and if you try to do it now, you would make almost no money at all for years and years before you would finally notice anything happening. And so that would be too difficult to and have the patience for. You're talking about you'd have to invest like 5 to 7 years of your life making almost nothing and hoping that the industry doesn't change on you while you're basically making almost no money. And then of course the stock market, you never know when you're at the top of the stock market. So I can't even say, you know, what to invest in. You know, like right now, it's all about the AI technology, and I am invested in that, but I still don't. Who knows if at the top? Even back then, when I was investing in all these technology companies, I didn't know if I was at the top or not. I didn't know something was going to happen. I was just like, well, just keep shoveling it in because it's a tax deduction and it's a way to shelter the money, and then hoping that I was hoping like in the next 10 to 15 years, it would at least be worth more than what it would at least keep up with inflation. So anyway, so that's it for that story. There's not much else to tell about it. And I'll on the next delivery, I'm gonna tell you guys about my I guess I'll tell you guys about my dieting. It's a whole like fasting situation. So I'll tell you about that next in the next segment when I go on my next delivery. Next up is an offer from UberEats. We're gonna go to Mackay Island Grill. I'm gonna get $12.49 for 5.4 miles. I was at home for 20 minutes or so, and all the offers that came in were under $8. There were a couple that were over $8, but the miles were too high, so I just declined them. And most of the offers that have come in have been from Uber Eats. DoorDash has been pretty quiet today. Not too much has come in at all from DoorDash. I think the only offer I got from DoorDash was like a discount tire, and I never take anything from discount tire because I don't want to have to pick up anything heavy and put it in the car. So yeah, so that didn't work out. But yeah, I don't know, and I don't know if I'm gonna do another one after this because it's now after 11, and I really want to finish by 12 o'clock today. I've had the app on since 8 o'clock this morning, and it's just a really slow Tuesday, so there's not a whole heck of a lot coming in. So I am currently on this new diet, this, what is it called? 16-8 diet plan. And basically all you gotta do to be on it is eat in an 8-hour window, and then in the next 16-hour window you don't eat. So that sounds pretty, I like it because it's pretty simple and straightforward, and it's pretty hard to muck it up when all you gotta do is shut your mouth when it's not time to eat, and then of course start chowing down when it's time to eat. So that's sort of all you got to do really to follow it. Now of course you can't pig out non-stop, like for the next 8 hours. Just shove as much food down as you possibly can before the 8 hours is up. It's not an eating contest to see who can eat the most in 8 hours. So when I wake up in the morning, I start eating usually at about 8 o'clock is when I usually start eating. So then I'll have something, something sensible. It'll usually be like some oatmeal with some walnuts and some olive oil, because the olive oil is really good for your omega whatever. And so are the walnuts. And then I throw in some blueberries in there. And then I usually have that with a cup of coffee and a little cup of Greek yogurt, like a fat-free Greek yogurt. And that kind of does it. That kind of takes care of breakfast. And then I have all the way from 8 o'clock until 4 o'clock where I'm allowed to eat. And you're allowed to snack if you want to, but I generally don't feel like snacking after I eat, because once you've gone on this fast, this 16-hour, 8-hour fast, your stomach kind of shrinks, or something happens where once you go through that fasting period, it's like your insulin resets, and you don't really have the cravings that you normally have. So I don't really feel like eating again, because I know how full I am from the meal I just ate. And I know a meal is coming up real quick. Like the next meal comes up at 12 o'clock. And by the time 12 o'clock rolls around, I'm barely hungry enough to eat lunch. And so usually for lunch, it's something that's vegetable related. Like I'll crack open a bag of mixed vegetables, like maybe an Asian medley, or I don't know. They have different kinds of vegetables that come in one of those bird's eye bags and just throw in the microwave. And then I'll have that with some shredded chicken or something like that, and maybe a little bit of rice. Oh, this is a 30-minute. This will work for me. All right, we're here at Mackay Grill. Let's pop on in. Oh, we got a lot of stuff here. Very heavy. One of them is hot and another one is cold. I think this one is the cold one, they said. And this one is the hot one. These are like trays of food. These are not just your normal single combo. 0.7 miles. It looks like a business. It's going to be a meet at the door. The food wasn't ready when I got there, but it took about, I don't know, less than 5 minutes for them to get the food ready to go. And they just let me know which one was hot and which one was cold. And I think each the hot food bag must weigh at least 10 pounds, and the cold one weighs probably somewhere between 5 and 7 pounds. So very large orders of food. I think it's probably for some office meeting for the staff or something. Because it feels like they're both in metal, tinfoil trays. So yeah, I think it's for like a meeting or something. And so anyway, back to this whole dieting thing. So then after I have lunch, then dinner is usually at about 4 o'clock, and I just have whatever I want for dinner. That's usually the point where I'm just having, maybe I'll have fast food, or maybe I won't. Maybe I'll just make something. And I generally, when I am eating, I'm consciously trying not to have anything that's very high in sugar, like refined sugar, like no soda or anything like that. And then as far as like desserts, I don't really have any desserts. And I don't really have any breads or anything, maybe just a little bit of rice or something. And in order to kill the craving for something sweet, I'll probably usually have like a cup of hot chocolate, but it's like a healthy version of hot chocolate. It's like a what do you call it? It's like a cacao with a teaspoon of sugar. So it's like, I don't know what you call that. It's basically cocoa powder and some sugar, and then a teaspoon of sugar, and then some milk. And some water, of course, and then so that's kind of like the dessert. So there's like a beverage dessert, but I'm controlling the amount of sugar in it. And I think that's like the routine, the cycle routine. And then I just try to mix it up whenever I feel like it. If I get bored of whatever I'm eating, I just switch it up, but it's usually it flows around the idea of a protein and a vegetable, and also some fruit, like an apple, or some berries of some sort. And that's pretty much it. And I haven't been doing it that long. Today was the first week that I've been on this routine, and it's been working out. I think I've lost like 2.5 pounds. And then the goal is to get back to the weight I was originally at, which was, let's see, right now I'm like 170. Well, no, before I was at 175, and I'm only 5'8", so it says that I need to be, for a healthy weight, I should be about 160. So a total of 15 pounds is the amount I have to lose. So I've already lost 2 of the 15. And I know that 15 pounds to most people doesn't sound like a lot of extra weight, but I guess for my body, it's causing me all kinds of metabolic issues. I'm getting all these bad results on my lab work. So, and I have consistently tracked my lab work for a long time, for at least 15 years. I've been tracking my lab work, and it's been the last 2 years that my blood work has started to come back very, not abnormal. So I know that I have to, I know it has a lot to do with the weight that I put on over these last couple of years. So I've got to work on that. And this is the first time I've tried this 16-8 diet. I've tried low-calorie diets before, and I've gotten really good results with low-calorie diets, counting every calorie. But the problem with that is it's so restrictive that I was losing not just fat, I was losing muscle as well. So I was starting to look real skeletal. So I stopped that a long time ago, and I said, I'm not going to do this again. This does not work for my situation. Because, while I was counting the calories, I was still trying to fit in junk food in with the calories, and junk food's high calories, so I'd end up having like a donut for dinner. So it's really crazy. These guys are telling me to stop for some reason, so I've got to stay here until they do what they're doing. Oh, they're moving trucks. Oh boy. I picked the perfect time to get off at this exit. They're adding 2 new lanes to this freeway, and it's going to be several years until they're done. It's crazy the stuff going on this freeway though right now. Okay, I gotta make a left. I think the drop off is coming up real quick. Yep, it's gonna be this building here. $17 for 9 miles. You're close. You were close, but no cigar. Okay, the address doesn't match up. None of these numbers match up. Shoot, I hope I'm going to the right place. I'm gonna follow what it says, but right now the number here is a 2-digit number that I can see on this. Oh no, I think because this particular building I'm looking at is on this street that I'm on, and the street that it says is actually the one that's perpendicular to this street that I'm on. So that's why it's doing that. I'll just follow the navigation. $5, 1 mile. No, I think I'm still good. So yeah, this extra weight, this 15 pounds that I put on, has been causing me nothing but problems. It's been causing me skin issues and energy issues. I've been getting like shakes, like low energy, and I start to like shake, and it's caused like pre-diabetic symptoms, which has been horrible. And of course, with life comes a lot of stress, because stuff happens with life, and so that always would cause me to like binge eat. So I have to really, this whole fasting thing is helping me to not binge eat, because let me tell you, when the stress hits the fan, that's when you're reaching for a bag of potato chips or a thing of ice cream to numb the pain. Alright, I'm going to turn into here, and then I'm going to look for it. It says it's further down. Is that it straight ahead? No, that's not it. Must be the next building. It's close. The numbers are getting closer. How many address numbers does this building have? Oh, it says it's this building. I guess I'll park. Yeah, I guess I'll just park. Oh, this is it. This is it. Alright. Okay, I paused the app so I don't get any more requests. Gosh, this stuff is so heavy. Living on the second floor. Hi for a Terra. Just put it over here. Or...
Yeah, you can put it down on the table right here.
Okay, great.
Let me carry it around.
All right, awesome. Great, thank you so much. Oh wow, that order paid a lot more than I thought. It's at least over $17. That's good news. It's 11:30 now. I'm gonna start making my way back. I don't know if I'm gonna get anything by before noon. Once it hits 11:45, I'm gonna shut it off. $17, 11 miles. Costco. No thanks. I don't shop at Costco. I don't need that kind of aggravation. I don't even like going to Costco for myself, let alone for this job. $15, 12 miles. Yeah, I think I'll be able to stick with this diet just fine. And based on how much weight I'm losing every week, I should reach my goal in about 10 weeks, I think. I mean, I'm gonna give myself some slack that there'll be some weeks where I only lose about one pound in that week. So I figure, what is that gonna be? Because right now we're in January, so maybe in March, or April, and sometime in April I'll reach the goal. But I still have to stay on it. That's what the doctor was saying. They're like, you have to really stay on the fasting routine. Not that, because they said your weight will eventually, like, it'll normalize, and I'll probably end up be able to snack more in between. But the cool thing about the 16/8 fasting is you don't. It's much harder to overeat because the time window is much smaller. Like without this whole fasting schedule, usually at night I'll be like pigging out on chips or some sweets or something, and going to bed with a full stomach, and then having all kinds of problems like acid reflux and all kinds of weird problems because I pigged out before I went to bed. Or waking up early in the morning and deciding I want to have, pancakes and some kind of lumberjack breakfast for fun. And so the problem with doing all that, although it always sounds fun at the time, is that you're spiking up your insulin levels, and then you're crashing afterwards, and then you feel like you need more food after a few hours after you had that big meal, and you're not actually hungry. It's that your insulin has crashed and it's making you feel tired, and the tiredness is confused with hunger, and so you eat again to spike up your insulin again. And so what happens when you fast is that your insulin levels have normalized, and now you are much more aware of when you're full. Because when your insulin is all messed up, when it's like going up and down and spiking, your stomach cannot send a strong enough signal to tell you that you're full. And if you've noticed that, like if you go to a restaurant and you're talking with people at the restaurant and you're eating at the same time, you'll notice that you'll eat much more at the restaurant and even want dessert after a giant meal. And it's because you're so focused on the conversation that you're having with the people around you and having such a good time that you're not paying attention to the signal. And also the food is so decadent, it's spiking your insulin like crazy, and it's blocking out the signal to your brain to say, stop, you're full. So it's a common issue that all of us have in today's world, because it's a 24/7 world and there's always food around us all the time. Everywhere we go, we see food. If we watch TV, we see food. If we go to our kitchen, we see food. When we go out, when we want to go meet up with people, there's food. If you go to the office, there's food. It's everywhere, like nonstop. So, and if you grew up like I did, you're told not to waste food. Like if somebody offers you food, you're never supposed to say no. You're supposed to take it and eat it. And if they serve it to you on your plate, you need to clean your plate. And if you don't clean your plate, it's rude. You're supposed to finish it all. So it's a situation that's a recipe for disaster, and leads to all kind. And that's one of the reasons why the number one cause of death in the country is heart disease, because of that reason. Because we have a situation where people are out of control. Their weight's out of control. Their eating habits are completely out of whack. And of course, all these companies, they want to make money, so they constantly are pushing on us to keep eating stuff. And of course, they try to make sure not only is it delicious, but that you'll be hungry again real soon. They try to make sure it has tons of sugar to spike your insulin. And they make sure there's not too much fiber in it, because they don't want you to be full for a long time. They want that stomach ready to go again as fast as possible, so that you can spend more money on more food. I can remember as a kid, all day long we would always eat chips, and we would have cookies, and we would have donuts. We're always eating just junk, and of course it had a lot of the stuff has long shelf lives. You could buy stuff for the whole month, and it would be good for the whole month. You could just keep eating it all month long, and you go from the sweet to the salty and back and forth, and you have those 2 liters of soda that you're guzzling down, and then you go with your friends to 7-Eleven and you get yourself a big gulp or a cherry Slurpee, and you're just inhaling and inhaling. Yep, that is the problem. So now that I'm at this age, the next thing you think about when you're getting close to 60 is it's almost over. You're like, well, it's almost over now. I won't be here much longer. So you have to really be aware of what could take you out. And so eating a lot of junk could possibly take you out. So that's why that's on my radar. And of course, I've had medical problems in the past. So that's why I've decided to go on this 16/8. So I think that's it. I think that's all for today. I'm gonna wrap it up. I'm getting close to home. Let me turn off the app. And dash. Let me turn off Uber. I'm done. It's close enough. Alright, everybody. Thank you guys so much for watching again. I will see you. I appreciate everybody watching. If you like the video, go ahead and hit like. And don't forget to subscribe. Hit that subscribe button. Alright, thanks so much for watching. I'll see you again on the next one. Bye for now.